everyone, my name is Jennifer Maker and I am teaching you how to set up and connect with your Cricut Explore cutting machine. This is the Cricut Kickoff Lesson 1 and together we're going to set up our Cricut Explore machines together step by step. So pull up a chair in my craft room and let's get started. So the Cricut Explore Air is a computer-guided cutting machine that can cut over 100 different materials from vinyl to paper to, yes, fabric and thin wood. My very first machine was a Cricut Explore and I use it almost daily still, all these years later. You can actually see it sitting back here, the pink one, that's behind me. I love it. There are 3 models. The Explore 1 has a single clamp and has to use like a USB cable. There's no Bluetooth. The Explore Air has 2 clamps and can use Bluetooth, as well as the USB cable. And the Explore Air 2, which is what this is, and what most people get these days, uses Bluetooth and it can cut and write up to twice as fast. The Cricut Explore is a popular machine and a real workhorse. It's amazing. There is so much that you can do with the Cricut Explore. So here I have a brand new and still sealed in the box Cricut Explore cutting machine. I'm going to open the box, see what's inside. Together, we're going to connect it to a variety of devices, including an iPad, an Android, a Windows laptop, my Mac computer, so basically everything. And then we will do a test cut. My goal is to get you set up and able to cut by the end of this video. It is really easy and you can totally do this. Now I do have something special for you, a completely free printable handbook that goes along with these free lessons. You can download it right now at cricutkickoff.com. Just register for the class and you'll get the handbook. I will be referring to it as we go along in today's lessons and the future lessons as well. So, are you ready to unbox this beautiful thing? Let's get down to it and get it done. This is the front. Well, here's where the little tab is. So I'm just going to use my craft knife to cut the tab here. When I say these are new, I'm not kidding. We're just doing it together. Because if I just use one of mine to go, I do have quite a few at this point, it's not the same experience as opening it together, right? Alrighty, let's see what we have inside. So this is what is inside the box when you open it. We have a mat, first of all. Here is a blue light grip mat that we will be using for our test cut. So that's there. I'll set it over here. All right. So here is our Cricut. It's what's it say? Keep it looking new. Reuse this bag. Oh, it has a little bag. Okay. So we're just going to reach in like this and pull it up. There we go. Thank you. All right. Well, it's packed really well. It was in there pretty good. So there it is. We're gonna keep these in case we need to use them. Like I always recommend you keep your box because you might need it for storage, shipping, anything like that. Okay, so in the box is what we have all other things. We have our power supply, which is right here. We'll set that right over here. And a pen. Here's our pen. We also have, and this is the actual cable. This is the USB cable that we need to connect to our computers. But if we have our Bluetooth devices, which we do, we don't need it. And then here is our welcome packet. All right, so I'm going to take this box. I don't see anything else in there. Do you see anything else in there? Because I don't. I think we're good. Now, you might have gotten like a special bundle that had extra things in it. And if so, often they are in there. So be sure to look. All right, but let's keep everything, all of our packing material together because it's nice to have. So it says, welcome, you've got this and you've got us. Need help before going back to the store? Use these resources. So it's telling you what to do if you get stuck. So definitely do that, okay? So let's see what else is in here. All right, so we have this. We have our Let's Get Started packet, which we'll look at in a moment. We have a booklet that says Cricut Explore Air 2. We have our sample materials. This is blue cardstock, black cardstock, and our boring stuff, which is our warranty. And another piece of cardstock. So we have 3 pieces of cardstock, and we'll just set this aside, but this is your warranty. Okay, so keep this in your box or wherever you keep your important things. So let's focus on let's get started first. Cute. So there's some cards in here. Now, first, unleash this beauty. What's it say on the back? Plug in and power on your fabulous new Cricut machine. Number 2, get connected. Just go to Cricut.com/setup and we'll walk you through every step. Excellent. And 3, make a little something. During setup, we'll make a practice project with materials in the box. Fun. Awesome. Okay, so, and there's number 4, bookmark this page. That's Cricut.com/create. You'll find every resource you need to master your new machine. Enjoy. Okay, so these are our steps to get set up. We will be doing 1, 2, and 3. And on number 4 will be in lesson 3. Lesson 3. And then there is this little booklet here. I wanted to look at this. Ready to get started? Our online guide will walk you through. It totally will too. And we're going to do that together. And so it repeats where to set up right here, Cricut.com/setup. And it talks about what's in the box, how to make things, design space. See? It's like a cute little manual. It's not very long. It doesn't go into depth, but it goes over the basics if you are brand new. And it tells you where to get more help. Oh, and this is really useful. This tells you where all the things are on your Cricut. So I will show you all of these things too once we get it set up. So it's got this little sticker on it. I'm just going to slice through that sticker carefully. You wouldn't want to scratch your beautiful new Cricut. There we go. Oh, there it is. Isn't this like the prettiest color? I just love this. And it's shrink wrapped inside. Well, actually, I take it back. It's not shrink wrapped inside. It's just got some plastic on the ends here. All right, so we're gonna. They didn't tell us to take the tape off, and I don't think that they will. We're just gonna do it. I know for sure we don't want to keep this tape on here. So there you go. It's so exciting. It's like a new toy. All right. Hopefully that was the last of the really loud stuff. There's a seal here as well, and it's totally fine. This is probably to keep the door closed during shipping. And so let's talk about what each of the things are before we actually set it up, okay? There's a lot that we can talk about just so that we are using the same terminology. So starting over here, we have the storage cup. Let me show it to you. See, you can keep whatever you want in there. Usually people will keep, oops, I just opened the door. They'll keep pens or blades or candy in it. I've totally heard of people doing that, and I keep opening this door. This clearly, as you already know, is the open button right here. This is the cartridge adapter. So if you have Cricut cartridges, like when you had a Expression or something, which I never had, so I have zero experience with this, but this is what this is. This, by the way, is not present on either the Maker or the Explorer, but it just kind of, it's a little tray, you just go like that. On the other side here, we have our power button right here. This is the dial, the materials dial. I'm going to have you immediately change this to custom. Always keep it on custom because if you do that, you have access to more material settings. So there's a little dot right there. So you just want to make sure that dot is pointing at the word custom. And I know that's backwards. So yeah, make sure that your custom button is right here on custom. And while, yes, I know it's got all of these things here, this kind of, I don't know. I don't really know. Maybe some people like that, but if you put it on custom, you get all of the material choices. And if you watch my tutorials, you will see me referencing all of those things, okay? All right, so power button, the dial, smart set dial it's called. This is the load and unload mat button. This is how you load your mats in. This here is the cut button. It's got a little Cricut logo on it, right? So it flashes when it's ready. So some people call it the go button. And then this is the pause button right here. And you can press this at any time if you have to pause your job. So this here is where your power goes, and this here is where your USB plug goes. And we will be doing those together. One of my favorite features of the Explorer is the way it opens. You ready for this? Ta-da! I love this. Sometimes I just come over and press the button. it's the only one that does that kind of magic open thing, and I love it. All right, so inside we have some styrofoam. This is just for packing. You need to remove this. So let's just get this out right now. You just pull straight out just like this. It's keeping everything safe in there. You can keep it if you need to ship it or something. Okay, so inside here, and this is an Explore Air 2. If you have an Explore Air 1, it will look a little different, okay? But basically this is clamp A. See, it's got a clamp. And this is clamp B. And your blade is already in here. This is where your blade is. If you get your Cricut and you're like, well, where the heck is the blade? It's not in the box. It is already in your machine. Okay, so now you just close that up right there. That one's closed. Clamp A is for pens. So like we have a pen, right? So you would put the pen into clamp A. You could also use clamp A for a scoring stylus. And clamp B is what you're going to use for your cutting blades, right? Is there an extra piece of something there? No, I'm looking at it up in my camera, so I can't necessarily see it all. Okay, so yes, so clamp A and clamp B. Now, these are your rollers. See these black things and the gray things here? And there's over here as well, kind of hidden by the camera, but if you look at it straight on, you can see them. Those are your rollers. So when we put our mats in, it's important that you get it under the rollers. Okay, and we'll do that together. These guides right here in the sides, these plastic things where there's kind of a little space underneath, that's the mat guide. There's one on each side. And the only other thing I think that's important to know in here is that these white things right here, these are called the star wheels. And if you cut something like chipboard or basswood, you're going to want to move them. They're not particularly easy to move, I'll be honest, but it will keep it from indenting, like putting indentations on things. So, but we're not going to worry about that right now, right? There is a storage tray here in the front. So isn't that cool? So many people don't realize this. So this is magnetic. This is this strip here. That's a magnetic strip, and these are little guides for you to put your blades in. And you'll see that you can even fit like the blades. Look, if I take this blade out, it fits right in there. Isn't that cool? And this here is like a tool compartment, right? So, or you know, candy is fine too. Whatever you want to store in there. It actually does a pretty good job of staying put when you close your machine. So let's go back to our cards. Make sure we're following what Cricut says. So card number 1, unleash this beauty. Plug in and power on your fabulous new Cricut machine. So the card said to go to Cricut.com/setup. Cricut.com/setup. Return. And this is what we see. Now I am currently using my iMac Pro. That's the computer I use almost all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how the process of downloading and setting it up on my Mac. But then I'm going to show you Windows, and I'm going to show you iPad, and I'm going to show you Android. Okay? So let's go ahead and do this. So now, and I'm sure it's going to come as no surprise to everyone that I already have Cricut installed on my computer, because naturally I use it all the time. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to go ahead and download it again. We can totally do that. So I'm going to click that download button, and it's going to come right over here. All right, so we're going to click on this, and we can do show in Finder, Maybe we just do open. That's probably easiest. So we're going to click open, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It's going to open it up for us, and this is the window you will see once it downloads and opens for you. All we have to do on the Mac is click our little Cricut and drag it over to the applications window. And we get this window here that says, you already have a Cricut. You already have Cricut Design Space, because of course I do. You probably won't get this, but if you do, it's fine to say replace. So we just go ahead and click on replace. And it's now downloaded the latest version of Design Space for me. It doesn't hurt anything to do that if you've ever wondered. So I'm going to click on my applications folder and go find it. My application folder is alphabetical. Sometimes by default it might be like date modified, but mine is in alphabetical order. So I just go to the C's, which is right here. So I now double click it to open it. And I give it a minute. It is opening right now, as you can see. And I say, yes, it's okay to open. So if you get this message, Cricut is a trusted company. It's totally fine. Just so that's clear. Okay, so here is the latest version of Cricut. If your version of Cricut is a different number, don't worry. You might be seeing this in the future when it's changed. So they don't change that much, especially not installation. So we get to this stage right here, and it doesn't really tell you what to do, but the big green button is where you want to head. So we're going to click on product setup. Now we have a choice. Do we want to register a cutting machine or a heat press? Well, we definitely are doing a smart cutting machine, aren't we? And we did the Joy already. So today we are doing the Cricut Explore. So we click on Cricut Explore. Now we need to put in our name and an email address. So now if you already have a Cricut, you can just sign in down here, but I'm going to show you what it's like to do it from the very beginning. Did I type that right? It's very small. Sorry. Does that look typed right, Greg? Jennifer Maker Explore.
Yeah.
I think I'm missing my maker here. Always be careful when you type in your email address. Otherwise, you'll have problems signing in later. That's why they have you do it twice. That looks okay. And then we'll just pick a whatever password for now. There is a page for you to record this information. So let's put this down for a second. So I think it's like on we are in lesson 1. Connect with your Cricut. Yes, right here, the My Cricut page. This is for you to record what kind of Cricut you have. Now, I might know my Cricuts really well because I work with them every day, but most people don't. So write it down here. Put all of your information here, okay? And then on the next page, here's our setup checklist, which you're welcome to read. Basically is what we're doing. Here we go. My Design Space account. I want you to put down the email address that you signed up with and your password right here. Of course, keep this somewhere, safe. If you're at all worried about someone in your house using your account, I don't know, it's probably not a problem. What's more important is that you can get into your account. So use this handbook to record this. And of course, this is basically what we're doing right now so that you can refer to it later. And this is a great thing to have because you can record everything that came with your Cricut. So we put in all of our information. By the way, this email address, don't email me there. It's not one that I check, okay? It's just for today. It's very important that right now, you cannot go any further. This is an inactive button. To make it active, we need to agree to the Cricut terms of use and their privacy policy. You can click on both of these to read them before you agree to it. I've read them, so I'm going to go ahead and click I agree. Now you'll see you can create your Cricut ID. So I'm going to click on that. Okay, so they have updated policies. We can click here to read them. I'm going to click accept. I have read them. Okay, prepare our workspace. So it's very important that you clear 10 inches of space behind your Cricut Explore. Now you might be like, well, why? I don't have 10 inches of space. I have limited space. Here's the Cricut from the side. Now, when you put material in, it comes in here and it comes out the back. See this slot right here? The material passes through your Cricut like this, right? So it's coming through back and forth, right? That slot right there. So, I mean, this is a pretty big mat, right? It needs to be able to come all the way back out here. So make sure you have at least 10 inches of space. All right, so we prepared our workspace and we have plenty of space here. So we click the next button, find an outlet. So now step 2, plug your Cricut Explore into a wall outlet and power it on. So we're gonna do that together. These here, this is your USB port and this is your power cord. And they want us to do the power cord right now. This one here, this is our power cord. It's got our prong on the end that we're used to plugging into a wall outlet. And it's got the power supply, which is what this is here. And this is the end here that actually goes into your Cricut. So it's got a nice little Velcro strap here, which I appreciate. So I'll undo this. And it also has a twisty tie. All right, so we're gonna put this right into this slot this spot right here. I'm gonna put this down so I can see a little better. There we go. So we plugged it into the machine. All right, so now we need to plug it in to a wall outlet and plug it right in. There we go. Let's set this over here out of our way. So here in my setup, I said to get within 6 feet, which I think is really good advice, right? Then you know, because here's the thing, our next step, the USB cable, if you're using for your desktop or laptop, it's a 6-foot cable. So you need to be within 6 feet of your computer. It's said to turn it on, right? Power it on. Okay, so the power button, remember, is right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and power it on. You hear it? The rollers are moving. Okay, I think we're good to go. Okay, next step, connect it to our computer. All right, so I am using my Mac computer, so I need to connect it with the included USB cable, which I've got right here, up to my computer. Now I am more than 6 feet away from my computer, which is on the other side of the room. But not to worry, because I have an extension cable. I have a USB extension cable right here, so we're going to be good. All right, so here is the USB cable. There it is. This is a 6-foot long cable. Not that long. That's why you want to be within 6 feet of your computer. So there are 2 ends to this USB cable. This is the USB plug that goes to your computer itself. This is the one that goes into the back of the Cricut. Okay, so I think it goes with the logo down. Yes, it does. So the logo is down. I've always thought that was weird, but it goes in one way and this is the way it goes in. Now this end here needs to go into your computer. This is the USB. This is a USB port right here. Okay, so if you have a laptop, look for a port that looks like this. On a desktop computer, it's going to be in the back of your computer. But I have mine on the other side of the room, so I have to use an extension. So I am going to just plug it in, and this extends my USB cable so I can connect it to my computer over there. Okay. All right. It says to connect to the computer, which we have done. And it tells us we've done it because the window has now changed. So when we first got here, it said it was this button didn't work. It was the light green color. It's now the dark green color, which means that we can go ahead and click it. So I click on that. Now it's going to check to see if it needs any machine updates. It often does. It doesn't usually take long. So we're going to click on that. And that was easy. It's up to date. So we click next. All right, so we're going to register this machine to me. This is a great time to check and make sure that your email address is correct. If it's not correct, you can click here and request a change, I believe. But you want to make sure your email address is correct. So you want to agree to their terms of service and their privacy policy, and then you click register. I think I clicked on the wrong spot. There we go. All right, success. Your Explore is registered and set up. Let's click next. All right, so now this we are going to talk about in lesson 3. So for now, I want you to click no thanks because we're going to come back to this so I can tell you about Cricut Access and all the cool things about it when you're ready to do it. Okay, so just say no thanks for now. We don't want to make things complicated. And now it's time for us to test the cut. Before we do this, I want to show you how you set things up on a Windows computer, on an iPad, and on an Android. All right, so just needs to be running Windows 8 or higher, and you just do the same thing. You go to cricut.com/setup, just like this. You get a similar window, but it says for Windows, but you go ahead and download it. I suggest you do open when done, because then when it finishes, it'll actually open for you and start installing it for you, which makes it really easy. You don't have to go hunting for it or anything like that. So once it's done, it installs it. Super easy, right? Doesn't usually take too long, but of course it depends on your internet. Give it some time. It is now loading the application, and it will open it for you when it's ready. So it does take a little bit. Don't get confused here and be like, oh my gosh, it didn't work. So it pops open. If for any reason though, you can go looking for it. But we are going to set up our Explore. So just like before, we want to type in our name and email address and everything like that. I sped this up a little bit because you don't need to watch me do it super slow. So we put in all our information. We click that little checkbox, and then we click create a Cricut ID. And we agree to the updated policies, and we do the same thing. Prepare our workspace, find an outlet, and this is the same thing. And then we connect it to our computer. It's identical between the Mac and Windows, except for the download part. That's the only part that's really different. All right, so this is on my iPad. So the setup says, it says to go to cricut.com/setup. If you do that on your iPad, you end up actually going to the download page and you download the file for desktop, which doesn't work. I tried it and I got kind of stuck. So don't do that. Instead, you're going to go download the app from the App Store. Okay, that's important. So click on or tap on the App Store and tap on search. And then you want to search for Cricut, specifically Cricut Design Space. It usually will pop up. It's a very popular app. You can just tap that. You're looking for that one that you see in the top right corner, and you want to install it. Okay. It's free, by the way. Cricut Design Space is free. So if you don't actually have a Cricut, you can play with it anyways. Did you know that? You totally can. So go ahead and tap open once it's done, and the app opens for you on the iPad. You can tap allow if you'd like here. So you want to tap machine setup and then tap the Explore, because we are setting up our Explore, right? And you want to put in your Cricut ID. Now, if you've already set up on your computer and this is a second, like you want to use your iPhone also, your iPad also, then you already have a Cricut ID. So you don't have to worry about that. So but you just get signed in, and then once you're in here, it tells you what to do, right? So you need to, oh yes, plug in your Explore and power it on. So we've already done that. And then you're going to go to your settings and enter a PIN number. So this is important. So make a note of that right now. You're going to see it on the screen again. And then you're going to pair your Explore through Bluetooth. All right. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So we need to actually go to our settings app on the iPad or the iPhone. Okay. We're actually going to go right to that app. So once you're in here, you need to find Bluetooth, which you can see right up here. And then you need to click on, it should powered on, and it will find it. So you can see right there, it says Cricut Air, right? So that's your Cricut Air. So it's already powered on, and you have Bluetooth on. By the way, if you don't, you could turn it on right up there. Now, when you get to this stage, you need to enter a PIN number. Type in 0000, 4 zeros, okay? And then that's how you pair with your Cricut Explore through Bluetooth on your phone. And then when you're done, you can go ahead and continue, and it will do the same thing. It'll check for any updates that you might have to need to do. And it tells you that you're finished when you have successfully done it. And then you can tap the green button And it'll ask you again if you want to do Cricut Design Space. And for now, just click that you'll do it later. Because again, we're going to talk about that in lesson 3. So that brings us to the exact same screen that we see over on my Mac. So we're now at the same stage on the Windows and on our iPad. So how about an Android? Let me show you that now. So this is my Samsung Galaxy tablet, which is an Android tablet. So you want to go to the Google Play Store, which is that icon right there. And just like with the iPad, you need to search for Cricut Design Space. There are some other Cricut things in there. You specifically want Design Space, and then you tap Install. And, you know, again, we wait for it to install. How fast it goes depends on your internet. You may need some patience. By the way, Cricut recommends we have 2 to 3 megabits per second on our broadband internet, which, by the way, is actually really slow. I have 100 megabits per second on my internet here at home. So most people are going to be fine with this. All right, so once it's installed, we go ahead and tap it to open it and tap on Machine Setup and choose the Explore. There's the Explorer. And then we do the same thing. We enter a Cricut ID. I'm going to speed through this again. So then you press the green button down here, and there we go. You select the Explorer. So we need to plug it in just like before, just like with the iPad. We need to say it's okay to do this. Now it's going to look for the Explorer. If you got it turned on, it's going to find it, but you have to tap that green plus sign right there in the corner. And once it finds it, you have to pair it, right? So it'll find, you see it in the list right here. I'm going to hold it up so you can see it better. So it found it right there. It says Cricut Air, and it's got some random digits after it. Everyone is different. So you tap on pair. And if it asks you for a PIN number, you type in 0000. All right. That's the magic PIN number. I don't know why it's that, but that's what it is. So you just tap that in, and then you tap OK to finish pairing it. And it'll just take a minute. It's talking to it and communicating with it. And then when it's done, you can just tap on it, and you should go right back to Cricut Design Space. Yep, there we go. So it's going to do the same thing. Look for machine updates. I don't think that there really were any. Yep. And then we're all good to go now. So we tap that green button again. And look familiar? So what is so cool? I just love this. What is so cool, I think, about the Cricut is how you can access it on such a wide variety of devices. I know of very few products that are like that. And they're so similar. So it's really cool because it makes sense, right? We've done number 1, unleash the beauty. And we've done number 2, get connected. And we're up to number 3, make a little something. So we're going to pick one of these, and I'm going to pick the sunflower. Oops, again, I clicked on the wrong spot. There we go. Sunflower. You can see when you click on it, it gets like this green box around it. So we clicked on our sunflower, and now we're going to click on next. All right. So this wants us to change our smart dial to cardstock. So we're going to need to do that for doing our test cut. Okay. So you're just going to turn it back to custom when you're done. So I had you change it to custom. You're going to want to change it back to custom, but for our test cut, we're going to want to switch it to cardstock. So you just go around here. This says light cardstock. This says cardstock. So there we go. There's like a little dot. I don't know if you can see that, and it's pointing to cardstock. Okay. So it knows we did that. So it's paying attention. That's nice. Okay. Prepare for the cut. We need to place the small cardstock in the top left corner of the mat. Here is our mat. The mat comes with a protective cover. It's on here. You have to remove the cover. Okay. This is the top. There's like a little hanging hook thing in the bottom. However, these are the sides. One thing about Cricut mats is you can use either end. So you can put your mat in this way or this way, but you can't do it this way or this way. Okay. So, it doesn't matter what, so you just want to be able to read the word Cricut. So you can read it here, or you can read it here. See? Okay. So you need to take off the clear mat, the clear protective mat, or plastic cover. You want to save it to put back on when you're done so that you don't get all the dust and dog and cat hair on it, which I know too well. All right, so here is our piece of black cardstock, and we're going to put it in the top left corner. This grid here is important for lining up your material. Now this mat is sticky. I'm going to touch it and you can see it sticks to my fingers. It is not sticky up here. So if I touch it here, it doesn't come up. So there's adhesive on it. And the adhesive is important for keeping our material in place. So we want to line it right up to this corner right here. So I just take the corner of my material right up to the corner of my mat, just like this. And I make sure it's lined up before I press it down. And you do want to press it down, right? There's tools that you can get for pressing it down. We will talk about all of that tomorrow. So now our material is in the upper left corner of our mat, just like Cricut asks us to, right here, right? Okay. So we've done that. Let's press the next button. Prepare for cut. Confirm that the blade is set in place in clamp B. All right, let's take a look at that. Okay, so our blade is in clamp B. Clamp A, clamp B. And we open it up just with this little tabby thing here. You pick it up with a little stalk. I don't know what to call that. The little pin at the top. So this is our blade. We want to be sure that the blade is in the Cricut, right? Now it's going to be in your Cricut, but it's not a bad idea just to make sure, you know, like when you were playing around with it, maybe you didn't take it out. It's always important that it be seated in here. So it's all the way down, right? And once it's all the way down, you can go ahead and close the clamp. Just like that. All right, so the blade's in place. Prepare to cut. So push the mat up under the guides toward the rollers. And it's got a helpful little picture for us of what that looks like. So we are going to put it into our machine. And here's the mat guides I showed you earlier. They go in just underneath, and then you push it right up against the rollers on both sides. So right now, like, it will not go any further, and I have light pressure against it. What you don't want to do is just kind of stick it in and be like, okay, I'm done. Nothing will happen. It won't beat it in. You actually need to be pressing a little bit of light pressure, not like forcing it in or anything. It won't go at all in. It won't, you can't press it in any further right now, but once we tell it to start cutting, once we tell it to load the mat, it will suck it in. And it needs to be under these rollers for that to work. Now it tells us to press the flashing load unload button on the machine. And I'm going to go ahead and press the flashing button, which is right here. This is the load unload button. There we go. It is now loaded. And our next step is super easy. It says press the flashing go button on the machine. Easy peasy. So that is, it's the go button, the one that looks like the little Cricut right here. That is the flashing button. This is your go button, your cut button, your Cricut button, your flashing button. You'll hear it. You hear lots of words for it, but that's the one we want. So we're going to cut, we're going to go ahead and press this. It's going to cut. It doesn't take very long, a couple of minutes. It'll be a little loud. I may or may not talk during it, but I want you to watch it cut, and I'll probably switch to the overhead view so you can see it. All right, so let's cut it. So what the Cricut Explore, and this is true of all the Cricuts, it's basically a mini CNC machine, if you are familiar with what that is. So it is your computer or your device is giving directions to the blade, and it moves along its axis, which would be what, the x-axis, and the mat is moving in and out along the y-axis, and that is how it works, and it's very, very cool. I've used big CNC machines where we cut wood, and it's essentially the same process with a different blade, of course, and obviously much thinner material, but it's really, really cool. Really cool. All right, so when it finishes, this unload button blinks to tell you to unload your mat. We go back to Cricut Design Space, it tells us the test cut is complete. We can go ahead and click next because it's walking us all the way through it. And it tells us to unload, to press the unload button. So we're just going to press the unload button. It's going to spit that mat back out, just like that. And that's it. So this is cut. Can you see it? Hold it up there. Can you see it's all nicely cut on there? See how lovely and accurate and beautiful that is? I just love it. Okay, so when you want to remove paper, vinyl, anything really from your mat, what you want to do is you flip it over onto your surface like this, and you curl it away from your mat like this, rather than trying to take it off. So let's take off the outline first, okay? All right, so we are just gonna let it, basically it almost comes off by itself, right? And this is easier to get it off, plus you don't have to worry about your material curling if you take it off like this, right? And then here's what's left. So often you'll get either all of it will be left on here or all of it's left on here, whatever. But you can just pop it right off like this, right? So the little pieces of our sunflower all just kind of come out like this. Isn't this pretty? This is a pretty sunflower. I love sunflowers. There are other ways to get these little pieces of paper out. I usually use a different mat when I cut cardstock, but the blue mat is fine. So here is our lovely sunflower that we cut all by ourselves with our brand new Cricut. Awesome. Okay, cool. So, all right, so I'll have to clean up my mat because I want to put that away. But I think that we have done everything. And our Cricut is now ready to go. In our lesson number 2, I'm going to talk about materials and everything like that. And lesson 3, it will be more about design space itself. So I know you might have questions about those things now. If you feel confident, you should go for it and just start making things. You certainly don't have to wait for me. But if you would like me to continue showing you, you just need to come for lesson 2 and lesson 3. All right, so I'm going to put my cover back on my mat before I clean it off, just so that it's protected from my 2 dogs. Because I have 2 dogs and they have lots of hair. And one thing I'm sure that you're going to be asked about is that, do you have to keep this USB cable in if you have a computer? And no, you don't. You can then use Bluetooth after that. But for setup, it wants the USB cable. And I did that on both my Mac and my Windows, and both times it asked for the USB cable. So you do need to have that. But once, like if you don't want to keep your Cricut within 6 feet of your computer, which I totally get, you can take your USB cord out and put it somewhere safe in case you need to do an update or something later on. So I would put it back into the box. You'll need to keep your power cable in, of course, except when you're not using it. It's always a good idea to unplug it. But after that, you can use your Bluetooth on your computer to set it up to connect to it. So I can attempt to show you that real quick, in fact. All right, this is what your system preferences, like I always call it, settings. This is what it looks like when you first open it. You're looking for your Bluetooth symbol, which is right here. And if you click that, it opens up Bluetooth. It shows you all the Bluetooth devices that you have connected, and as you can see, I have quite a few. If you scroll down, you will see your Cricut here. So long as your Cricut is turned on and your Bluetooth is on, so you can turn it on and off right here. As long as it's on, you can connect. You would just click this connect button. You would have to pair it. Let's see if we can. It lets us do it right now. Oh, I didn't have to pair it. I didn't have to put in the pin number. So it just paired for me and it's ready to go. So that was very simple. Sometimes it might ask you for that pin number. And if, again, you just put in 0000. Now to connect your Bluetooth on your Windows, you need to click on Settings. And then you need to click on Devices. And then you need to make sure your Bluetooth is on. And then you click Add a Bluetooth device. Right, it's up there at the very top. It's got like right there. You're going to click right there. And then you need to add a device. So you're looking for your Cricut Explore. It will show up here if it's turned on. We're going to go through that again with the So it's right there. That's how you would connect on your PC. So if you have questions about how to set up your Cricut Explore, just let me know. Leave your question below this video or ask in my Cricut Crafters group at jennifermaker.com/CricutCrafters, where you can get help and guidance from hundreds of thousands of Cricut crafters just like you. It's an awesome group. I love it in there. Now, if you also want to learn about how to set up your Cricut Joy or Cricut Maker, I have lessons on those cutting machines too. Get links to those classes at CricutKickoff.com. And tomorrow I'll be back to do lesson 2 with you and show you all of the necessary materials and supplies and tools that you may use for your Cricut Explore. Lots of cool stuff to talk about and look at. So until next time, in our next class, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.